a woman finds two young girls floating in a river. She pulls them out and discovers that one is still alive. The other, a beautiful girl, is dead. Greedy and cruel, the woman swaps the dead girl's face onto the surviving girl, who originally had plain looks. She names her Sue and forcibly sells her to a wealthy man in town. The man believes he can do whatever he wants with Sue, but she fights back. She grabs a sharp knife and stabs him between the legs. When she tries to escape, she is caught. The mistress of the brothel orders her men to lock Sue up and send her back to the wealthy man. But at that moment, a gang storms in. Their leader, a handsome man named Yoon, rushes forward and rescues Sue. He freezes when he sees the necklace she is wearing, the same necklace that once belonged to the woman he loved. Enraged, Yoon throws the brothel mistress back into a coffin, and Sue locks her inside permanently. After that, Yoon hands over the brothel to Sue, making her the new mistress, and warns the other women to follow her commands. But instead, Sue tears up all the contract papers and frees every woman, telling them to run away and live better lives. Overwhelmed, Sue clings to the man who saved her, Yoon. In a flashback, we learn that a few months ago, Sue was actually Lien. She belonged to the richest family in town, and was about to marry a policeman named Wang. On her wedding day, a group of men barged into the ceremony. Their leader was Yoon, who was also Wang's friend. Wang introduced Yoon to his bride. But later, he secretly mixed something into Sue's tea. When she woke up, she found herself in bed with Yoon. Although Yoon claimed that Wang had offered Sue to him, he insisted that he never touched her and left immediately. Shattered, Sue rushed to confront her newly married husband, only to discover that Wang had already murdered her innocent father. When she demanded to know why, Wang coldly confessed that he had always despised her family and only wanted to seize their wealth. After that, Wang pushed Sue into the river, leaving her to die. The brothel mistress rescued her and swapped her face with that of the dead girl, who, unbeknownst to Sue, was Yoon's former lover. Now, Lien lives as Sue, the very woman Yoon has been searching for over the years. While Sue is secretly planning her revenge against Wang for killing her father, Wang unexpectedly appears at the house. He is shocked to see that his best friend has brought a prostitute home. Sue cleverly tries to seduce Wang, planning to stab him and kill him on the spot. But before she can strike, Yoon enters the room. Sue quickly runs to Yoon and falsely claims that Wang tried to touch her. Yoon calmly warns Wang to respect Sue as his sister-in-law. But Wang shamelessly replies that they could easily share her. Yoon immediately refuses. Later, Sue pretends to cry and says that she has been tainted by her time in the brothel and that people will mock Yoon if she stays with him. Hearing this, Yoon firmly declares that he will never abandon her and wants to marry her. However, Yoon's subordinate strongly opposes the idea of accepting a former prostitute as his sister-in-law. He cruelly suggests that Yoon should only keep her for entertainment. This enrages Yoon completely. Sue then secretly meets her friend from the brothel and asks her to spread the rumor that Yoon is marrying a prostitute, hoping to create chaos in the city. As expected, people begin mocking Yoon and his men. Enraged by the insults, his men start fighting with the public. When Yoon learns that his men attack civilians over meaningless gossip, he becomes furious and prepares to punish them. But before he can act, Sue appears like an angel and takes responsibility. She claims that she is the true reason behind the rumors and that she deserves punishment instead of those innocent men. Sue loudly begs Yoon to punish her instead. Yoon agrees and strikes her a few times with a whip. Seeing Sue willingly take the punishment to save them, Yoon's men feel ashamed. They apologize to her, accept her as their sister-in-law, and promise to protect her. As Sue grows dizzy, Yoon lifts her into his arms and carries her to his room. He gently applies ointment to her wounds. The next morning, as the sun rises, Yoon looks for Sue, but she has already managed to crawl back into her room before he can find her. She has secretly planned a small gift for Wang at the wedding. Just then, a strange woman approaches her. Sue freezes in shock when she realizes that the woman looks exactly like how she used to look before her face was changed. Soon after, Wang appears, and Sue learns the truth. This woman is the duplicate Wang had secretly prepared in advance, even before marrying her and killing her father. Back at the wedding hall, Sue sees her personal servant, Rinu. She quickly follows her, wanting to reveal that she is still alive. But instead, she discovers Rinu secretly meeting Wang. Sue realizes that Wang had used Rinu to kill both her and her father. Later, Sue finally marries Yoon, and the two vow to protect each other as life partners. Soon after, Wang is invited to cut the wedding cake, unaware that it is a special revenge cake personally prepared by Sue. As Wang lights the candle, a wide smile spreads across Sue's face. When Yoon notices her expression, he grows suspicious. In a split second, He rushes forward and pushes Wang and his wife away just before the cake explodes like a small bomb. Su panics and runs to Yoon as he collapses from the blast. Yoon immediately begins investigating who was behind the explosion. His men report that a woman had secretly exchanged the wedding cake. Yoon then recalls seeing Su near the window as if she had gone outside. When questioned, Su claims she only went out to get him a secret wedding gift. But Yoon no longer believes her. Suspicion grows in his heart. He begins questioning her about her childhood. Since Su doesn't know the real answers, she guesses, and gets caught. Enraged, Yoon starts physically torturing her, demanding to know who she really is and what her true motive is. With her life now in his hands, Su finally confesses that his real lover is already dead and that she was only pretending to be her. However, she firmly denies being behind the bombing, saying she has nothing to gain from killing Wang or his wife. Yoon refuses to believe her. Su then asks for 3 days to find the real culprit behind the explosion. For 3 days, she stays outside pretending to investigate. On the 3rd day, she returns and claims that the real culprit is the house servant, Rinu, who is having an affair with Wang. Soon, Yoon and Su capture Rinu. Under pressure, Su forces her to confess the affair and accuses her of planting the bomb to kill Wang. Rinu breaks down and tries to explain that she truly loves Wang and is even pregnant with his child. But to Yoon, she is now nothing more than a criminal. After Yoon leaves, Su quietly reveals her true identity to Rinu, that she is actually her young master, Lien. At first, Rinu is confused, but soon the truth hits her. Although Su is furious at Rinu for betraying her, she still feels pity for her. She tells Rinu to leave the city silently and never reveal her identity. But fate turns cruel again. When Wang suddenly appears, Rinu is about to expose Su's real identity. Before she can speak, Wang shoots her dead instantly, afraid that she might reveal his own secrets as well. This act makes Yoon deeply suspicious. He and his subordinate begin to believe that Wang is hiding something dark. Now Su realizes she may be Wang's next target. Terrified, she decides to escape and asks Yoon for permission to leave. But Yoon, still suspicious, questions her again. He asks why she chose the wedding day to try killing Wang when she could have done it long ago. Su grows anxious and insists on leaving immediately. This only angers Yoon. He declares that Wang is hosting a dinner for them and that they must attend. When Su refuses, Yoon threatens to reveal her identity to Wang if she does not go. With no other choice left, Su is forced to attend the deadly dinner at Wang's house. As they arrive at Wang's house, Yoon begins to notice that Su seems suspiciously familiar with the way inside. Once seated, Wang thanks Yoon for saving them and for catching the culprit behind the bombing. But Yoon calmly corrects him, saying it was his wife, Su, who made the real effort to uncover the truth. The fake Liang grows jealous when she sees how Yoon praises Su. Slowly, she slides her leg against Yoon's under the table. At that moment, Su drops something and clearly sees Liang touching Yoon's leg. The fake Liang then begins to mock Su, calling her poor and unworthy of being Yoon's wife, claiming that he must have married her out of pity. Yoon immediately takes Su's side and states that he married her out of respect for a promise he made to her late father. Still, the fake Liang does not give up. She keeps trying to seduce Yoon under the table. Later, when she goes to bring fruits, Su wanders deeper into the house and sees her ordering the servants to throw her late father's belongings outside. This devastates Su. When she returns to the table, Liang insults her again. Unable to hold back any longer, Su slaps her in front of Yoon and Wang, saying she has endured enough humiliation. Enraged, Wang also slaps Liang in return and orders her to leave. Yoon feels sorry for Liang and goes after her. Meanwhile, Wang leans towards Su and whispers that Yoon is secretly having an affair with his wife. He boldly offers himself to Su if she is willing to leave Yoon. Su firmly believes that Yoon would never betray her. At the same time, Yoon asks Liang to return. Once again, she tries to seduce him, shamelessly claiming that nothing is hidden between them since they once slept together on her wedding night. Her words confuse Yoon, as he clearly remembers that nothing happened. Suddenly, a loud noise pulls them back to the hall. They find Su lying injured on the floor. Wang casually claims she tripped and hurt her leg. Yoon panics, lifts her into his arms, and carries her out of the mansion. But instead of taking her to a hospital, Yoon brings her to a theater where a special show has been prepared. The performance reenacts the tragic story of Su's family, her marriage to Wang and the murder of her father. Su tries to leave, but Yoon stops her. At that moment, she realizes that he already knows her true identity and her desire for revenge. The fact that he kept silent makes her believe that Yoon, too, harbors hatred for Wang. Yoon suddenly points a revolver at her. Instead of fearing it, Su grabs the trigger and pulls it herself, only to find that there is no bullet. She smiles and asks Yoon to join hands with her to destroy Wang together. But Yoon coldly replies that he has no reason to kill Wang and is even glad that Wang killed her father. This shatters Su. Just then, a drug-addicted girl approaches them, offering herself to Yoon in exchange for money. Yoon harshly sends her away but tells Su that her father is the very reason this girl ended up like this. When Su grows confused, he asks her if she truly knows how her father became so rich. The truth shakes her deeply. Late at night, Su wanders through the streets, exhausted and heartbroken, yet still refusing to believe her father was a bad man. She eventually returns to Yoon's house and insists that her father was innocent and that Wang must have framed him. She begs Yoon to either help her take revenge or hand her over to Wang. Yoon says he has no reason to help her, but tells her to see the truth with her own eyes first. Gently, he covers her wet body with his coat, lays her on the table, and treats her injured leg with a first aid kit. The next morning, Su goes to a hidden area filled with drug addicts. She secretly steals a box of drug powder but is caught and dragged into a room. There, the wealthy man Kunta recognizes her, the girl who once stabbed him in his private parts. Seeking revenge, he tries to force himself on her. Just in time, Yoon storms in and slashes Kunta's throat in a single move. When Kunta's men arrive, Yoon pretends to be Kunta and kisses Su to fool them. Back home, Su tries to smoke the opium to identify its source. Yoon rushes in and pulls the poisonous smoke from her mouth, furious that she would risk addiction. Su is stunned by how deeply he now seems to care for her. But she is even more shocked to realize that the taste of the drug matches the herbs grown in her family garden. Now it is clear. The supplier is connected to her own family. Still, she refuses to fully accept it. Later, they attend a lunch with Wang, his wife, and another newlywed couple. Cleverly, Su asks Liang to perform a dance, knowing she has no idea how to dance. Embarrassed, Liang struggles. Then Su stands up with Yoon and dances with them, not for celebration, but as part of her hidden plan to draw Yoon and the fake Liang closer. That evening, Su secretly places one of Liang's earrings in Yoon's cabin. When Yoon arrives, confused to see Su there, she cleverly shifts the conversation to the moment when he saved her by kissing the opium smoke from her mouth. She teasingly suggests that he may have fallen for her. Yoon firmly denies it. Su then asks him to stop suspecting her and to help her with her revenge. The next morning, the fake Liang visits Su at Yoon's house. Pretending to be lonely, Su confides that she feels abandoned, claiming that Yoon never touches her or treats her like a real wife. She lies that Yoon is in love with another woman and constantly talks about Liang. Hearing this, Liang becomes secretly delighted and rushes inside to meet Yoon. In Yoon's room, Su discovers the earring. When Yoon arrives, she slaps him and cries loudly, accusing him of keeping another woman while trapping her as his wife. From the corner, Liang hides a smile, recognizing her own earring. She then tells Su to step outside, claiming she will talk sense into her husband. Su leaves with a secret smile. Liang confronts Yoon, excited that he took her earring as proof of his love. But Yoon coldly walks past her without a word and goes after Su instead. He accuses Su of being shameless for pushing another woman toward him. Su replies bitterly that he is no longer her husband. Furious, Yoon tells her to return to the man she married, Wang. This breaks Su completely. She slaps Yoon hard and storms away. Su returns to the fake Liang and pretends that Yoon is mentally unstable and in need of treatment. She insists that Liang take her to her father's herb center, claiming that the cure for Yoon's illness must be there. Liang smiles and agrees. At the herb center, the manager refuses to let them enter the restricted area. Su skillfully provokes Liang's ego, and an angered Liang forces her way into the storage room. Inside, Su finds the same opium she had seen at the underground drug den. At that very moment, Wang arrives. Furious, he drags Su away. On the ride back, Wang grows suspicious that Su has befriended Liang with a hidden motive. When Su refuses to answer, he forcefully kisses her and tries to assault her, sneering that Yoon would never fight him over a prostitute. Su strikes his head with an object and jumps out of the moving car. On the empty, dark street, Yoon suddenly appears and gently covers her with his coat like a protective husband. Back home, Soo locks herself in the bathroom and scrubs her body violently wherever Wang touched her. She refuses to open the door even when Yoon calls out to her. Worried, Yoon breaks the door open and holds her tightly. But Soo has had enough. She declares that she will take revenge on her own and will leave the house the next morning. Yoon stops her, saying she is now his wife and he will not let her go. The next morning, Soo quietly leaves the house anyway. Yoon, anxious, follows her in secret. Soo begins stalking the fake Liang. She sees Liang buying clothes for a small child. Liang senses someone following her and turns around, but only sees a couple hiding their faces and kissing. She ignores it and continues ahead. When Liang meets her child, the boy becomes happy but also sad that she rarely visits him. Liang notices bruises on his face and realizes that her useless husband has been beating him. The man does not care about Liang or the child, he only wants her money. When the man raises his hand to hit her again, Soo steps in. Liang panics and makes excuses, but Soo directly demands that Liang secretly transfer all the herb stock from the herb center to her. When Soo notices the bracelet her father once gave her on Liang's wrist, she snatches it away. The memory of her father overwhelms her, and she collapses in grief and drunken sorrow. Before anything worse can happen, Yoon arrives and gently takes her away. Soo suddenly demands something sweet. Unable to refuse her, Yoon knocks on a closed bakery and buys her sweets in the middle of the night. The next morning, Soo wakes up unable to remember what happened between them. She notices someone changed her clothes and coldly tells Yoon that he no longer needs to care for her like a wife. They are only bound by a deal now. This angers Yoon and he storms out. Soo then meets a group of thugs to hire some men. One of them mocks her and tries to touch her, but a kunai slices past his hand just in time. Soo realizes Yoon's men are secretly guarding her. Another man approaches her, offering to arrange men for her. She doesn't know that he also works for Yoon, meaning she is unknowingly hiring Yoon's force. Soo then goes to the herb center with the fake Liang and secretly transfers all the herb stock within 1 hour. With everything ready, she disguises herself as a wealthy drug mafia dealer and enters the underground drug den. Pretending to be Wang's business partner, she claims that Wang has betrayed the dealer and sold all the stock to her instead. She says she was sent to eliminate him and take over the trade. Terrified, the drug dealer offers to betray Wang in exchange for his life. He hands over the ledger containing records of all their illegal drug deals, evidence that could completely destroy Wang's career. Soo agrees to spare him. At that moment, Yoon appears and exposes Soo's disguise, seizing the ledger. When the drug dealer tries to attack Soo, Yoon orders his men to kill him on the spot. With the proof in her hands, Soo finally convinces Yoon that her father was innocent. She begs him to arrange a press conference to expose everything publicly. Yoon agrees. When Soo vows to repay him for his help, Yoon becomes furious at her words. He pulls her close and kisses her deeply, making it clear that he no longer sees her as just a contract wife, but as the woman he loves. At the same time, the fake Liang returns to her small house and finds her son at gunpoint, held by Wang. Shocked, Wang realizes that she has been hiding a family from him. Terrified for her son's life, Liang reveals that Soo had visited them earlier and knows everything. Enraged, Wang storms to Yoon's house and accuses him of betrayal. Yoon laughs and shows Wang an old scar on his body. The sight awakens a buried memory of a rebellious boy who once tried to expose Wang, and whom Wang brutally punished by carving that deep scar into his flesh. Wang is stunned when he finally realizes that Yoon is the same boy from years ago. He coldly asks what Yoon wants now. Yoon answers without hesitation. He wants Wang's complete downfall. Enraged, Wang orders his men to arrest Yoon on false charges of drug trafficking. Then he turns to Soo and Yoon's men with a cruel warning. If they ever want to see Yoon alive again, they must bring him the drug record ledger. This throws Soo into turmoil. She has come so close to destroying Wang and avenging her father, but now she must choose between her revenge and Yoon's life. Meanwhile, Yoon is brutally tortured under the excuse of interrogation. Despite the pain, he refuses to break. He firmly believes that Soo will leak the drug ledger to the media and finish Wang once and for all. But Su makes a devastating decision. She chooses to save Yoon. She secretly tells Yoon's men to prepare for an attack, knowing they cannot trust Wang to keep his promise. Then she goes alone to Wang's office to hand over the ledger. Wang greets her with a mocking smile and tells her to sit. In a flash of anger and disgust, Su throws the hot tea straight into his face. Wang explodes with rage. He snatches the ledger from her hands, grips her throat, and sneers that he will never release Yoon. He claims that from now on, Su will belong to him as well. But before he can act further, a rumor about his drug dealings spreads through the city like wildfire. Wang is immediately summoned by his father. Furious that Wang failed to hide such a massive scandal, his father beats and humiliates him brutally. To control the damage, he orders Wang to release Yoon at once, blaming Yoon's arrest as the source of the growing rumors. Forced by his father, Wang releases Yoon. Su takes Yoon home and personally tends to his wounds. Yoon is deeply shaken when he realizes that Su sacrificed the evidence for his life. He leans closer, wanting to kiss her, but at that exact moment, his men burst into the room. Startled and overwhelmed, Su quietly leaves. Later, Yoon meets Wang's father, Daku. Daku apologizes on Wang's behalf for Yoon's suffering. To everyone's shock, Yoon accepts the apology immediately. Not only that, he hands over scandal files about Daku's rival political leaders and even burns all of Wang's drug records to earn Daku's trust. Yoon's men are confused. They cannot understand why he is helping Daku, the man who protected his enemy. Then the truth is revealed. Daku is actually Yoon's biological father. Years ago, Daku murdered Yoon's mother and abandoned Yoon, leaving him to die. Yoon survived only to return with a single goal: revenge. For a brief moment, Yoon sets his revenge aside. His men decide to help him win Su's heart. Yoon begins to genuinely try. He takes Su shopping, buys her the sweets she always loved, showers her with expensive clothes, and even takes her on a dinner date. He spends a fortune trying to make her happy. But Su's heart remains distant. Finally, she confronts him and asks what the meaning of all this is. Yoon softly says that he is simply taking his wife out. That is when Su gently but firmly corrects him. She tells him that she is not his wife, and that she has never had romantic feelings for him.